Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, my name is Diptii Shah and welcome to my show, Artistry. Today I have with me a prolific children's author of the Amma Tell Me and Amma Take Me series, Ms. Bhakti Mathur. Hello, Bhakti, and welcome to my show.
Hi, Dipti. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm honored.
Thank you for being here, Bhakti. Please tell us about your childhood.
I'm from Bihar. I was born in Patna. I grew up in Delhi. My education was in Delhi, my grad, and my postgrad. So I think of myself as a Delhi girl. And the memories that I have of childhood are spending summer holidays in Patna, eating umpteen mangoes, also spending a lot of times in libraries because my mother was a librarian. And in the summer holidays, I would be left for the whole day, day after day, in the library to spend time. I suppose libraries are, inexpensive babysitters. And of course, Delhi, the food, eating golgappas in the market, shopping, hanging out with friends, enjoying the turn of the season. Yes, this is what my most endearing childhood memories are.
So the onset of books in your life has begun at a very early age. How
Yes.
much of that has affected, the style of writing?
That's a good question. So I think it's certainly impacted me as a reader because I remember one of the first books being read to me was sitting on my mother's lap while she read Dr. Seuss to me, Hot and Here's a Who. And that book as a kid was my favorite for many, many years. So that exposure to being read aloud and having lots of books in the house made a huge impact. And I think till today, I'm probably a more voracious reader than writer. So I like to think of myself as a full-time reader, but I think it would have impacted an interest in writing as well.
Can you tell us a bit in details about your Amma series?
So I write two series. The first one is Amma Tell Me, and the second is Amma Take Me. So Amma Tell Me started more than 10 years back. And, Holi was around the corner. And I remember looking for books to tell my two young kids, they were 3 and 1 at that time, about the festival, how it's celebrated. I couldn't really find anything I liked. And I was sitting with my husband and I said, I want to write a book on Holi. And he said, just do it. And it sounded like a Nike ad, but that gave me the impetus to go ahead. And I was very clear I wanted it written in rhyme because I was influenced by Dr. Seuss and how much as a child I had enjoyed rhymes. I also knew I wanted vivid illustrations so that children get excited and interested in the imagery. So those are picture books for children in the 3 to 8 year age group. And there are 13 books in that series because as every festival came, I kept writing about it. So Diwali, Janmashtami, so on and so forth. The second series, Amma Take Me, is published by Penguin in India. And this is for slightly older kids, 9 to 12-year-old. And this is a travelogue of her mother and her children to places of historical and religious importance in India. And what I love about the series is that I visited every place that I've written about with my family. So we started with the Golden Temple and then Tirupati, Shirdi, Dargah of Salim Chishti. And growing up, I found books on history very didactic and boring. So these books are written in a style of a conversation between a mother and a kids. They're based on the questions that my boys actually asked me as we went around to those places. And that's why it's very special.
India is full of culture and religion, all these stories of gods and goddesses and palaces and princes. I mean, there is no end to our literature.
Yes, I know we have millions of gods. So I'm never going to run out of ideas. I'm very grateful for that.
Right, right. Bhakti, was it easy publishing your books?
No, it was quite hard. And actually, the good thing is I didn't know how hard it was at that point. Otherwise, I may not have done it. So I think I had a bit of advantage in not knowing. I was quite clear that I wanted to self-publish. I was in banking. I was a banker at that point of time. And I think one of the things about being a banker is you look at the costs and you look at the income. And when I thought of traditional publishing, I felt that authors are not paid much. So that was one. And the other is I also felt that I wanted my decisions to be mine. So I didn't want someone telling me that, no, we don't want this as the cover, or the quality of the paper should be different. So I wanted my successes to be my own and my failures to be my own, because it wasn't a commercial decision. It was something I was doing for my children. So it was a labor of love. And that's what prompted me to self-publish the Amma Tell Me series.
Can you share your top 3 lessons for, young writers or, first-time writers who want to self-publish?
So, self-publishing is not the only answer. There are traditional publishers, as one is well aware of, and it may not be for everyone. So I think what I would, recommend is that try and find out what self-publishing entails, because it's like running a small business. Not only are you writing the book, that's the easiest part actually, but then you also have to think of, where am I going to get it printed? How many copies should I print? What should be the quality of the paper? How am I going to market it and get it into bookstores? It's very well to write a book, but till it's not out there, till it's not distributed, people are not going to know about it. So how do I enter the distribution network? How do I put it on Amazon? Then how do I market it? Do I market it on social media? So it's like running a business. And as a businessman or a businesswoman, you think of every aspect of it. So if you have that desire to be an entrepreneur, or you want to, see what it's like to run a small business, then self-publishing is for you. But if you want to just focus on the writing and have someone else deal with everything else, then going to a traditional publisher is better. The advantage of self-publishing becomes that you spend all the costs are yours, but the entire income is yours as well. Whereas with a publisher, they're taking care of all the expenses, but they're giving you a royalty. So,
Right.
it has both pros and cons. So I think it's good to weigh in everything. That's one thing. And to understand that it's very different from writing. It's like running a business. The other thing I would say is that you have to keep tweaking your model along the way. So you have to be patient. That's the other thing. And the third thing is that it does take a lot of time. So it's time intensive. So, keeping all this in mind, if you feel you're going to enjoy self-publishing, then go for it. The other thing to do is, I think, because quite a few people have been self-publishing over the years, is try and speak to people who have self-published and to hear their journey. I think one can really learn from other people's experiences. So one of the things I did was I picked up this book and I recommend it till date. It's called The Well-Fed Self-Publisher by the author is Peter Boberman, and I found it extremely helpful. It gave me a great idea of, what it entails. So, that's a book that I would recommend.
Bhakti, you've written more than 70 articles on developing resilience in times of adversity for the SCMP, if I'm not wrong. So why did you choose this theme and what did you learn from it?
I think the theme chose me when I think about it. So I started off by writing about things or people that interested me, because I think that's when it's more exciting. You're passionate about it. You put in hard work. It's easier to convince your editors. So that's what I really followed. I followed my heart. And what came out in that is I wrote a lot about culture. I wrote about food. And I've written the most, like you said, about people who face difficult situations, whether it's an illness or have done really inspiring things, because these move me. So, after all, who wouldn't be inspired by a lady who's 60 years old and decides to start running and is 74 now and is sharing her journey of the past 14 years, or someone who's had cancer and who's taken charge of their life, changed their lifestyle, changed their thoughts, gone back and seen how their thinking and resentment that they held in the past could have impacted them and really, really changed everything about their lifestyle.
Bhakti, more than 20 years in banking, now a very, very successful children's author, to becoming a life coach. How did you manage these transitions in career? And what would you say to people who think that there is only one path, there is only one course, and there is only one job that is available? to us?
So firstly, Dipti, I think you're making me out to be much more successful than I am. uh, this is a very interesting question. I think in our parents' generation, people thought that you have one job and you retire with it. But I think one is that longevity is increasing in terms of life expectancy. So we're going to have long lives, and I think we're going to have different phases of our careers. And I think for me, in terms of the transition, when I think back, it happened very organically. So I enjoyed banking, but as my writing work increased, I found that it was very difficult to, give time to banking, to manage two small kids, and then to at 10 o'clock at night open my computer or my notebook and think of writing a story. So it was a very natural evolution where I wanted to focus more on the children and on writing. And yes, one fine day I had to sit and think and decide that, what is it that I want to do? Do I really want to make the switch? But it happened very organically for me. And I started writing in 2010, but I left my banking job in 2017. So for about 7 years, I did both. And I think that was a large amount of time for things to evolve on their own and really time for me to think that, is this what I want to do next? And,
Right.
also working in banking and with the support of my husband, I think it's important to have a little financial nest egg. So that allowed me to take that decision at that time, uh, you know, that yes, I can stop earning what I am in banking and take a risk of going into writing and see what happens. And of course, let me tell you, unless you're J.K. Rowling, as a children's book author, you're not making much money. But yes, there's a lot of happiness and there's a lot of satisfaction and joy that comes from it. And life coaching is something that happened again organically. It was something I'd been thinking about. And really, because I've always been very interested in self development. And, that goes back to my love of books and how I think books have really saved me, and given me so much solace and hope and companionship over the years. So it was a step in that direction. And I really studied coaching to improve myself, to become a better listener, to become more empathetic. So that was actually my goal. And I think the common thread that I see is that I was pursuing or am pursuing things that I have a genuine interest in.
Right. So you're looking for more meaningful and more, touching things that you might have wanted to do earlier, but are doing it now.
Yes, that's the interesting thing you say, because when I think back, after I finished my school and thinking about which subjects to take for college, I was interested in two, journalism and psychology. But I didn't do either of them. I did my undergraduation in economics. And I think I was driven a lot by peers because, everyone was doing economics or commerce and then going for an MBA. And that seemed like the easiest route to get a well paying job. So I think I was influenced by that. And it's interesting that I've come back to what I thought I wanted to do initially, journalism and psychology.
Maybe it's the trend, or it was our age, or it was India, or the influence. I don't know. I mean, even I never thought about pursuing the arts, though I wanted to study literature or maybe drama, but I should have done that. But I took up MBA, became a banker, and the rest is history. Right.
Yeah, very similar. But, I just feel it's never too late. It's
Of
really
course.
never too late.
Of
I
course.
read
Of
an
course.
article the other day in SCMP about a 55-year-old lady who decided to become a yoga teacher. And it really struck me. I said, wow, I mean, this is how it should be. I mean, who defines at what age you can learn and what age you stop learning? We define it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The age is definitely not a bar. It is just your mindset. That's it. Bhakti, you just spoke about a yoga student at the age of 55. You yourself are on a roll. You are learning anger yoga for teacher training, right? So, what is up with you? I mean, you're doing so many courses, more than a student would be pursuing in his student life. Please tell us about all that.
Sometimes I think, Deepti, in my last life, I must have been a student who never found a teacher. So it seems in this lifetime, I'm making up for it. But, on a more serious note, it's just really pursuing things that I'm interested in. And I think for the first time in my life, for me, the process is the reward itself. So I'm not thinking of, oh my God, how will I build my business? Will I actually teach yoga? I'm really doing it because of the impact it has on my mind and my body. And my idea of, I enjoyed Iyengar yoga a lot. It did a lot for me. And to join the teacher training program was to become more disciplined and instill it in my life. So that was the aim. And I think it's just with the other things that I'm doing as well. So for me, as long as I'm getting value and enjoying the process, you know, that's the answer itself. And I'm very comfortable. Actually, I'm enjoying going with the flow. And, I'm open to seeing where it takes me.
You are at a time and place in life where you can afford to fulfill and explore your curiosities, right? You've gone beyond the struggle stage of life. You've established yourself, and you're continuously, blessed to explore further. What at this stage, Bhakti, what is it that you desire now from life?
So, firstly, you brought up an interesting topic, Deepti. I'm very grateful for the family that I have, for supporting me, my husband, even my friends and extended family, for really cheering me on in, wanting to pursue whatever I'm doing. And I'm also very grateful to, really have some kind of financial security, because I am cognizant that it's very hard to be able to pursue your own interests when you don't know financially how they lead, unless you don't have some kind of a nest egg or a backing. So, I'm very happy about that. Um, I don't know if I have an answer to your question, in the sense that I don't know where it's going to lead. Yes, I do have a vision for myself that I would like to, have clients and coach, and maybe I would like to teach yoga one day, and write more books. But, that's not my primary motive. If it happens, it's great. But even if it doesn't happen, it's fine, because in yoga, the way it's impacting me, making me feel more calm, making me fitter, that itself for me is the main reason for doing it. Even studying coaching, I feel over the past, year and a half, I've become a better listener. I'm more empathetic. I feel I'm a better partner, a better friend. And I feel what bigger reward could there be to have enriching relationships, or to be able to, improve your mental and your physical and social well-being. So I'm seeing so many benefits that are coming from the process, that where it takes me is no longer as important as what I'm doing every day. So for me to fill my day doing things that I really love, that's my goal.
Super, wonderfully said. Like it is the journey now that matters and not the destination.
And the interesting thing I've found, Dipti, is that when I try to fill my day or do things that really add value to me or that I'm enjoying, somehow time creates itself. I don't find a lack of time. And I think it's because of focusing on things that you really want to do. Because when you focus on things that are your priorities or that you enjoy, the other things that take time and are not so important, they fall off by themselves.
I cannot let you go without asking this particular question. What are your top three books that have impacted you most in your life?
Wow, that's like asking a mom who's her favorite child, but I'm going to try and answer that. Books, like I was saying, have given me solace, have really been my companions. While growing up, I really enjoyed Jane Austen, Sherlock Holmes, so Agatha Christie. And as an adult, there are two authors that really stand out for me. One is Eknath Easwaran, and he writes about, Indian spirituality, and he's written books of the Gita and the Upanishad. And the other is a Buddhist Vietnamese monk who passed away recently, who you may have heard of, Thich Nhat Hanh, who writes about Buddhism and how to apply those principles in our lives. So I've been very influenced in the last 2 decades by these two authors.
Fabulous. I'm going to check out some of these, which I haven't read. Thank you so much for your time, Bhakti. It was such a pleasure to have you on my show.
Thank you, Dipti. It was wonderful to be a part of Artistry, and it's such an honor to be in the league of all the wonderful women that you've been interviewing who are doing such great work.
Thank you. Thank you for your kind words.
Thank you.